Hello. I want you to think about that you've been matched or looking at some children and you've gotten as far enough as looking at the green binders. But as you go through the green binders, some things start to stand out to you. The child's done some drugs, not heavy ones, but done some drugs, or just been really angry. Is that enough for you to decide, well, that's it, I'm no longer interested in this child? Or you try to find context? And that's what we're going to cover today on this episode. Hello, welcome to Time to Adopt. I'm your host, Michael Pendergrass. And on today's episode, I want to focus on context. And you're going to hear me use the word context is king. Because as you go through the adoption journey, what you see just on a regular ad or description for a child is going to be very bare bones. It's not going to go into a lot of detail about the child. But when you put that inquiry in, and when the social workers and the adoption team get back to you, one of the first things they're going to do is have you sign a non-disclosure agreement and start to give you more information. And as you go through that information, you might find out details that were so not in that kid's description. And they may not all be bad. It may just say that the child has ADHD. It could be the fact that they have had some anger spurts. But it still leaves some information out. This is a good time for you to then, in a phone call or a separate phone call, ask the social worker and the adoptions team, what do you see in this child? But what really comes to is when you're reading the green binders. And dependent upon how long the child or the children have been in foster care, there's going to be a lot of these. And these are a reverse chronological order of everything that's happened to that child while they've been in the custody of the state. So you're going to see doctor's appointments. You're going to see, doctors in terms of dentists. You're going to know every time they've had a cold. You're going to see some of their behaviors and some of the things that maybe are their less stellar moments. And one thing from our experience, my wife and I's, when going through the green binders for our children was the green binders didn't tell the whole story. And which was really frustrating because if you went with what just the binder said, maybe it wasn't the best for us to continue to move forward because there were some red flags that came up that we had set early on. And I remember very clearly with us, after having read some troubling information, that we decided to take a break and go to lunch. And my wife and I had a very long heart-to-heart about this. And it did deal with some limited drug use and some other behaviors that one of the kids had had. And I won't lie, it was very tempting to not move forward. But the thought came to me, and I'm sharing it with you, is what's the context? What caused the child to have these behaviors? What caused? Because in none of the nothing that I read said anything about what caused X behavior or Y behavior or anything. So my wife very wisely said, we need to ask the adoption team. And that's exactly what we did. So we did go and talk with the kids' social workers, and we got answers to some of the questions that had been bugging us. And it turned out what we thought from reading the green binders and the context were very, very different. If we'd gone by with just the green binders had said, with no additional context, yeah, maybe it's something that we should have walked away from. But as we got context from the social workers, we wanted to move forward. And we did. And then we got to talk and actually meet our future children. And in those visits, we had an opportunity to bring up these subjects one-on-one with one of the boys and get his side of the story. And guess what? Additional context. It amplified and confirmed what the social workers had told us. And now what looked like a red flag in a green binder that would be a non-starter all of a sudden looked like, okay, we can handle these behaviors. We could handle what was going on. Let's be honest with ourselves. Children in foster care are not going to be these perfect children we expect them to be. Are there some that are out there? Absolutely. But all of them are going to have some flaws. The question you have to ask yourself is, what flaws can we live with? Because I can tell you from firsthand experience, our children were overlooked, as I've said in a previous episode. But what I can tell you is that any and all of the behaviors that were listed in those green binders has not happened once while the children have lived with us. So think real hard when you're looking at those green binders and ask yourself, will they do it in our home? And what do I need to do to stop it? And am I giving this kid a fair chance? Because again, context is king. Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you liked what you've seen, please like and share. Put comments down in the comments section. And again, reach out to your local adoption agency, Health and Welfare. They have all kinds of information that can help you be informed as you move forward on your adoption journey. Thanks for watching.